Hello, instructors. I'm going to try giving you just a quick rundown on D2L so you kind of have an idea of things that look like here. The other thing, too, I want to make sure is that as you teach courses, you just let me know things that aren't working so that we can adjust, whether it's an individual course or just like an overall program kind of overview. You'll notice that when we look at like the calendar in D2L, when you can see the layout, like most of the assignments are going to be due on Fridays and Sunday nights, excluding the introduction. It gave them extra time until like a Wednesday, which is not graded, but it's nice to do an introductory activity, like an icebreaker. And then at the end of your course in week 8, the overarching professional portfolio is currently due on a Wednesday. However, grades are due that Friday at noon. So if we need to move this to a Tuesday, let me know and we can shift that. So we'll talk about for you to be able to grade. Then that is totally reasonable and we can shift that to Tuesdays. So we'll just want to make sure that we update the areas that say Wednesdays in big bright red letters that you'll see. But if we need to change that, we can. So generally speaking, Fridays and Sundays by midnight, 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time, Mountain Denver time, whether it's daylight savings or standard time, is whenever, depending on which one we're in for the year, is when assignments are due, right? So we're working with students that are working and most likely going to be doing schoolwork in the evenings and a lot on the weekends. So generally, each week or module starts on Monday and then goes through Sunday. So our week consists of Monday to Sunday. So whenever you're making announcements about, that week's assignments, Monday is usually a good time to do that for that coming week. You can always do them like Sunday if you would like. You will notice, so this sandbox template does not have a lot of information in it, but I wanted to go over the things that are going to be similar in each course, and then we'll pull up a course that will have a few things that will be a little easier to understand. You will have a welcome message. I recommend doing this after you've added your information to your syllabi and you've updated this other little section I'm going to show you about your instructor, because some of this you can just copy and paste, right? Like times that you're available and things like that. I need to go through and make sure each of your courses have this section about the e-portfolio for the Digication account, and a video on setting that up is coming also. So this is where your course home is, and this is where announcements kind of live. To edit these things, like say your welcome message, you click the little caret and you're going to click edit. And then that's where you can edit the body of this. You can also set things to a delayed start. So you can set these, say weekly on like Monday to pop up. A lot of times I set them for 12 a.m. in the morning. That way they're just there regardless of what time a student logs into D2L that day. But you can change that availability and start date. So you can do, so like if you're doing like a weekly announcement to update, like here are the things that you need to do this week. Make sure, here are the links to your assignments. You can set those up ahead of time. You can do recordings ahead of time. I mean, you can prep ahead as much as you would like. You can link. So one thing that I found helpful, especially in distance learning, is reminding students every week of the things they need to do, assignments in particular. So, I'd give them a bulleted list of like, don't forget, and then here are the things that are coming up, So a lot of times I'd have like a copy and paste kind of template, like, here are the things you need to do. Make sure you're doing them. And here's the day they're due. It's Friday or it's Sunday. But you can link directly to an assignment and it'll pop a link up so that you don't have to, copy and paste it or have a more difficult method. But that can be really helpful. We'll click update. That way it has a sooner date than 2018. But now you can see the start date here is set. If it's something that you don't want to be available all semester, you can set an end date. You can also just delete it. So that's where your announcements generally going to live. And then if we go to the content page, this is where like all the really bulk of things is going to be. So the things that are going to be, really the layout is going to be the same for each course. You're going to have your welcome start here page. This is the little widget that pops up. This is the information that falls under there. So there's two things on here that you'll want to just double check for accuracy. Course information, your dates, going to make sure that start and end date. You can add other dates. This you can copy and paste from your syllabi and just make sure that they match there in your syllabi. To edit this, you're going to click edit HTML. This is essentially like a document that was just created within D2L. So it's the only place it lives. But this is where you can, copy and then paste and you can paste and match the style from your syllabus over to here. Course learning objectives should be in there for each class. So we go back to the welcome start here, little module. The other one you're going to want to look at is the course instructor, and make sure that you give a little information about yourself, include a picture, obviously delete mine, your contact information. You're not required to list your phone number if you would prefer not to. You can share that as need be, and they need to contact you by email or through D2L. But also let them know like what your preferred communication method is. Mine always is first email, and then possibly phone, but email first. And I will show you where the email lives within Canvas, which you can have forwarded to your CNCC email. So they all end up in the same place. Sorry, not Canvas, D2L. The thing about D2L though is you cannot respond to a D2L email that you have sent to your CNCC email that's forwarded from your CNCC email. You do have to log in to D2L to respond. I've asked them to change that. They can, but they don't want to yet. So maybe eventually. It would be nice to be able to reply just from your email, especially because, we have students that email us in the evenings or on the weekends, and sometimes email from your phone is much easier through your email address than it is logging into D2L. I do want you to have 1 hour a week that you're kind of generally available. You can have a reoccurring time. You can also tell them that this is by appointment only. But if you generally think like, oh, I'm going to be grading last week's assignments on Monday or Tuesday night, like just have a time and say, this is when I'm available. You can have like a Zoom or a WebEx or a Google link that they can access whenever, or tell them they need to email you and let you know that they need office hours. They can also be more flexible, but it does tend to be nice to have just a set time, like this is when I'm available. And then, otherwise reach out to me outside of class if you that time frame for office hours, but let them know that you're available. A lot of times students want to communicate through email. They just need a response, a reply about something. Again, you're going to click edit HTML for this to edit this content. Your syllabus and course schedule are all going to live here too. There is this Word document for the schedule of assignments. Again, this is just copy and pasted from the syllabus. So you can take that information, and this is a Word document, so you can download it, copy and paste, or you can create your own and upload it. But this all comes from the syllabus, just, pulling some of that information that's important for students. And then your syllabus will live here too, which I will email all of those to each of you to be able to edit, and then you can upload, which you just click change file, and you can upload the updated version that has your information in it. But those are going to live there. We do have an introduction activity for each class. This helps you get to know students too a little bit, kind of icebreaker. These are just ideas. So you can make this what you want it to be. It's not required, but it's helpful for students to introduce themselves. Some of them know each other from being in dental hygiene programs before, and some of them don't. And it's good for you as an instructor to know who they are. Here's a Q&A area for in a discussion type of setup that they can use to ask each other questions. They often will reach out by email if they have a question for you. But you might set yourself a reminder to just double check that every once in a while, to take a look at it and make sure you're not seeing like a reoccurring issue or something of confusion. There's also a number of D2L tutorial links right here, so that can be helpful as an instructor too. YouTube is your best friend when it comes to these learning platforms. We do use APA formatting and writing in all of our courses. Students are not required to have the APA manual. We are using the 7th edition, which is the newest one, so they do need to make sure they're using that formatting. There have been some updates, especially for like online accessing, like government documents. That's where I find students probably have the most challenges, is citing, like, say, the CDC. They'll just put no author, and it's like, no, the CDC is the author. Centers for Disease Control, they're the author. There isn't like a person or persons that's writing this. It's the government entity or, the organization that's reporting on this. So sometimes that can take a little bit of guidance for them. But they can purchase this book if they would like to. There is a section here. This also comes from the syllabus on naming their files, so you don't just have a bunch of files that say, assignment 1, and everybody submits them with the same title. So sometimes this can be something you can copy and paste as a little reminder announcement for them. There's another link to the CNCC Gateway Center, which is also on that welcome page. This is a great resource for you too. If you have a student that's struggling, especially with their writing, you can tell them that they need to set up time with the Gateway Center to, work on their writing skills, or before their next assignment is due, they need to have it reviewed by the Gateway Center. Carrie Olson is currently